Welcome to the channel, and in this video I'm going to talk to you about how we purchased this property without even seeing it. We're going to talk through the purchase price, what we estimate the value of the property to be, the rental, and all of the plans we have for the property. But to be honest, the work isn't really that much. But we're going to show you anyway, and if you want to learn how we did exactly that, then watch the rest of this video. Let me fill you in on the rest of this property and kind of what happened in the interim between purchasing, which was only just a few weeks ago. So unfortunately what happened is that there was heavy storms that were going through the South Wales valleys, one of the rainiest places in the UK according to recent studies. And yeah, what happened was part of the fascia fell off, which then brought a few tiles with it, and there was a whole mess with that. So essentially what has happened now is that it's going to cost us to replace part of the roof, but even with the numbers, which I'll reveal at the end, all of this still works out. It's a massive inconvenience, to say the least, but because there's not much being spent and actually lower cost of repair than we thought in the rest of the property, then it's still working out. But essentially you can see like this whole thing, what we had to do was obviously the fascia came down. We got people out. It was an absolute nightmare where we had building control involved. They didn't know who the owner of the property was because we literally bought it only a few weeks ago. So essentially when we bought it a few weeks ago, nobody had contact details for us, so we ended up getting served with what is called a Section 78, which essentially means that there was a structure above and that caused an issue, and then we got fined. And a video for another time, a long explanation, and that's one thing that I want to share with the rest of the audience of how that's affected things as well. But essentially what we had to do is make it safe. Making it safe was a priority. We were under time pressure by building control to make sure that that actually happened. But with that, we had to take a whole row of tiles down, get a roofer out at like 7 o'clock in the morning. Absolute nightmare. But as you can see, this is the kind of aftermath of some of what's happened, you know, the debris and everything, and then the tiles that we had to replace right here. But other than that, this is the entrance of the property. You look at the rest of this, it's not too bad a condition really. We're not really planning on doing much here. We're going to keep this, repaint the rest of the walls by here, but other than that, not too much being done. Here we are in the main living area. It's a nice space, open plan living, and essentially what I would say is that there's not much being done here either. There's new flooring going in. We're gonna change this wallpaper and repaint. Some of the stuff is being done just before, I think, so not really much going on here. But I love the space. I love the fact that it was open plan already. It's one of the things we do in the many of the properties we renovate, and it was already done for us, so that's an additional cost that we don't have to do. Other than that, mainly what's going on here is that just over here, what's going to happen is that one of the pipes has been capped off, so we're going to chase that back into the wall. There's a bit of smoothing out from where the chimney stack was. That needs to be redone. But yeah, as I said, not really much going on here. As I did find, which you've got to be quite diligent of, is there's a few like cracked windows and things, which I didn't actually pick up in the initial look because blinds and things are in the way. So you need to check windows meticulously as well, just in case there are any issues. I think I shared on a previous video about condensation within the windows. You might not notice at the time, I might not think anything of it, but those are the kind of things that you need to check out. The only thing that you're going to do really there is replace the pane as opposed to replacing the whole window. These are double glazed windows already. It's not single glazed. It's not a big massive refurb in this property. So that's not going to cost too much. It's not going to break the bank or anything. But you just put contingencies in the thinking that the property is going to cost you more. It's better to think it's going to cost you more and then it costs less than the other way around, I can tell you that. Here we are in the kitchen, and again, it's a lovely kitchen. I was so surprised when I seen this on the images, how good the condition the kitchen was in. It's relatively new. I mean, these units are some of the similar things that we probably use in some of our newer refurbs as well. Good standard kitchen that you can put into a buy-to-let, and it's all pretty new. It's not dilapidated and old like a lot of the properties that we're doing. Built-in cooker as well. Not a massive fan of the green, but it'll do. I'm not gonna go ripping up everything just to make that fit in. The rest of it is in pretty good condition. You could just see over here, is where there was a leak, as told by the previous seller, and all that got fixed. But there still looks like damp, but it's all been resolved. There's not been any issues, and we've had torrential rain, so nothing has come about with that. So I'm pretty happy with that being in good condition and being pretty safe. We're just going to tidy it up and make sure that that is not really noticeable in the rest of this. Another thing that I said about the windows, checking sure they are in good condition. One of the windows, the internal windows, has been smashed right over here, and yeah, I didn't pick that up. But again, small window, and it's not going to cost us an arm and a leg to do. But as I said, I always put contingencies in, so at least that is covered. The rest of the kitchen, new flooring throughout here. It's going to just give it a new lease of life, repaint in here as well. This is falling off, but I mean, that's not a massive job anyway. It's more of this job is really just a handyman's work and doing little bits and bobs around the house. But other than that, it's pretty good. So let's move upstairs. Now this is the upstairs. One of the smaller rooms in the property, but it's good enough. I would say the few of the things that we plan on doing here is obviously replacing the flooring. Some of the old moving laminate is causing a bit of an issue, but it's pretty old stuff. It's pretty standard that you're gonna replace a lot of the flooring when you're going into any property, so we factor for that anyway. I'm gonna be retaining this wallpaper right here and just painting the rest of the walls and sorting out putting a new sill on by here. Again, windows are fine, not a problem there. But yeah, there's not much really being done in this. Oh, actually, one of the things that I like about this property is the doors that are being used. I'm quite a fan of these kind of shaped doors. Probably something that we would have put in anyway, so already been done, so that's a tick box from me. We are now in my favourite room of this property, the bathroom. And the reason for that, I'm going to show you in just a second. Now, as you can see in this bathroom, the tiles are floor to ceiling. Now, this is what you would typically see in a flip standard property, as we tend to do. But that's already been done for us. It's got a bath, it's got a shower, it's got everything that you need in the rental property, and it's a decent size. I'm really happy with this bathroom. There's nothing to be done here really. Just a quick tidy up. Everything that's installed in here is pretty much to a really good standard, and I'm really happy with this. So I'm going to take you through to the rest of the property, but this is definitely a win in my book. Now, this bedroom is the second bedroom that you come to. This would have been the child's room, but it's given me something interesting to talk to you about, especially with how the use of wallpaper and boards can affect the refurb of a property. So with this property, what you've got here is wallpaper over plasterboard. So when you have wallpaper over plasterboard, you have an issue. So the issue is that when you start taking away this wallpaper, then parts of the plasterboard can come off with it. Now that's not going to leave it smooth. That's going to have an effect for us, so that increases the cost of the refurbishment. What we're going to do is we're going to have to reboard the rest of this room that is not wallpapered. So this is going to be easy enough to fix because this is just going to be us painting over, but the rest of it we're going to have to reboard and then start again. This is why I typically don't like putting wallpaper into the properties. I'd rather them just painted so that we haven't got the headache of what happens when we take off the wallpaper. But that's all going to be sorted anyway. But yeah, it's another thing that I wasn't particularly happy about having to do. I thought we might get away with it, but no, definitely not. But oh well, it doesn't matter. It's already been factored in, and we can move on to the next bedroom, which is the master bedroom. We are now in the master bedroom. This is not a bad sized bedroom, but there's still a bit of work to be done here, and one of the things that I'm constantly looking out for is the potential of a leak happening. But essentially there's some felt that's come off, and that's going to potentially cause more ingress of water into the property, and if it's going to affect anywhere, it's going to affect this bedroom. Not looking forward to that happening, and we need to get a roofer in ASAP to solve that problem. So hopefully that doesn't cause a big issue, but it's something I'm watching out for. So when we do come and check on the property, that's what we're looking out for. But the rest of it, another one again, it's just repainting the rest of this, recarpeting the flooring all the way through, and I'm pretty happy with this again. Some of the problems that I didn't mention before is some of these floorboards are just off. It kind of gives you a bit of sea legs in parts, but it's not because there's non-supporting structure underneath, because obviously we've seen the RSJ and everything. It's not really a problem there. What it is that just some of the boards are off, but I feel like because they're terrace houses, they're kind of slanting like this as they go down into the valley, but you can kind of tell. So we're gonna be replacing some of the floorboards, which are having an impact, but they're not major issues. We've already tore up some of the flooring just to have a look and see how that was affecting things. Not massive issue. So really, this is pretty good standard, and you're probably wondering, how did we get this property deal in such a good condition? And I'll tell you about that just a second. Here we are back in my favorite room of the property, and now we're going to talk you through all of the figures and how we went about purchasing this property without even seeing it and getting the offer accepted and completed. So essentially what happened was, we seen the property, it was added the very day, we went and put an offer on it. And the reason we did that was because, and that's without even seeing it, by the way, the reason we did that was because we did our research. We knew that for the area, this property was below market value. Now the property was on for 80,000. 80,000, but this kind of property was a steal anyway, but you might not think that. So it was on for 80,000, but the thing is, the rest of the properties on the street, one had most recently been sold in the end of 2020 for £97,000. Now, in comparison, when this was on for 80 and then we sold for 97, we're already getting a deal right there. But then we were able to negotiate down to 77,500. So we were negotiating, and we bought this from the agent, allowing you to have an interface directly with the seller. So that allowed us to cut out the agent, all that negotiation that would have gone through the agent, and we just went directly to them. We put our value proposition across that we could complete quick with cash and give them certainty, and that's what he wanted. Now, going into that, we was able to then go and view the property. Now, there were some special words that we used here, was subject to satisfactory inspection. Now, this is a term that I learned from a property training that we're doing at the moment with Jamie York, but those words are so crucial right there. Satisfactory viewing means anything. It can mean absolutely anything. You could just say that you didn't like the carpets and it would still be unsatisfactory. So that was our get out of jail card for offering on this property. By doing that, we went in, we got our builder around, and we assessed the property, and what happened was there was more that we actually thought was there to do, so we were able to negotiate a bit further to 75,000 on the purchase price. But that isn't that much off, really, in the grand scheme of things. You might be thinking, well, it was on for 80,000, so you forget to 75, that's pretty standard. You've got to remember, at this point, there was already a significant reduction in the purchase, because from further understanding of the seller situation, we found that one, the property had already fallen out of bed, which it was in a chain break. Two, the reason for that was because the mortgage, the person couldn't get a mortgage. Now, that's another thing that was ringing alarm bells to him, is when we told him that we could purchase cash, that was a really important thing to him. We told him we could purchase fast, with cash, and without the rest of the hassle that he was already going through. And then as things progressed, we found out that he's actually going through a divorce. Now, all of those things meant that he was a motivated seller, a very motivated seller at that. And all of those things were compiling, increasing costs of having to hold the property because it was a tenanted property previously that was empty now. So all of those things were piling up, and he just wanted to move on. So with all that in mind, that is a great purchase in my books. You've seen the rest of the property, you've seen that there wasn't really much to do, and that's what you want. You want to purchase that will you turnkey and it's going to make profit on day one. If you want to see more of these videos, please do like, subscribe, hit the notification bell. We'll have more coming out. We're going to be regular with these videos, showing you what it's like being on boots on the ground, people who are investing in property, not just the multi-millionaires out there, but people who are going and growing right now and on the ground, making the mistakes. As you can see, we made mistakes here as well, but we're showing you all of that without all the smoke and mirrors that you see out there, making out the property is absolutely perfect and it's a walk in the park. It's not, and we're going to show you exactly what it's like, the highs, the lows, all of that. So I'd love to see you on the next video, and subscribe to the channel to get more of that. I'll see you on the next one.